Good morning, everyone. Yesterday was Canada Day, and it went off without a hitch. I said a bunch of times, I hope it goes off without a hitch, and it looks like it did. It looks like there were a ton of people there. I heard 10,000, which during the live streaming, I saw certainly 5,000 people. There were people talking about 5,000 on the live streams, but the news reports and things that I've seen after claimed 10. And later on in the evening, I started hearing closer to 10. So wow is all I can say. Here's some footage from yesterday. Sorry, there's bugs flying around here. I got my garage door open. So anyway, this is footage from yesterday. I thought this is interesting. I'm going to show you a lot because a lot's going on. Here we go.
It's a start. I'll keep you updated if possible. Hang on!
So that was Yannick, and he's, I don't know, he was there. Here's an important piece of this whole thing. The USMCA came into effect. This is Tanya Furr, I think that's how you say her name, and she's the Minister of Economic Development and Trade and Tourism, and she says that the USMCA is in effect as of today. Today marks the first day that the Canada-United States-Mexico Agreement is in effect. This agreement provides clarity and economic stability that will help create jobs throughout expanded trade with our largest trading partner, the United States and Mexico. All right, and so yesterday, this post got queued, and if you don't know what being queued means, well, you're not paying attention. And so here's Mayday, and he says, the USMCA is in effect. Patriots fighting against corruption for Canada Day. Wait till the end. This is 40 seconds. This is Norman Traversy, and he is delivering his evidence of corruption, and he delivered this yesterday, evidence of corruption to the United States Embassy with regard to Justin Trudeau and obstruction of justice in SNC-Lavalin. And during the whole scandal, there were police and other people on record in the newspapers saying that if obstruction of justice charges have been levied for far less than what's publicly known about this situation in the Prime Minister's office. So it's very, very interesting. I think, like I said yesterday, I don't think Trudeau's out of resources by any stretch of the imagination. But this is an interesting turn of events, right? The legislation, the USMCA, that's been approved and ratified across the three countries, calls for an investigation into corruption, and that's what they're alleging here. So this was Parliament Hill yesterday. There's a lot of people here. It's really interesting. I watched this live stream. It was very interesting. Here we go.
The White House already gotten this electronically, and they have given us a receipt. So I'm going to walk to the embassy with anybody that will come with me, and I'm going to deliver this. Okay? Where we go one, we go on. Thank you. God bless you all.
I have to say I wasn't expecting the crowd to chant that. Like that, I wasn't expecting the crowd to chant that. My goodness. Who's the majority? Interesting. It was very interesting. This is them walking down the street. This is the link to the whole live stream. This is a 6-hour long live stream. There's interesting pieces in it. And Critical Thinker, the guy who was running it, had multiple live streams because what would happen is there was a time where Norman was talking to police officers. The live stream died out because the phone died. And then so he brought in another live stream like Laura Lynn's. And there's other live streams. So he did a good job at keeping the coverage stable over. He also had Press for Truth. Oh, I can't remember his name. Dan had his stream on here too. So it was really neat seeing all the different streams kind of being brought up as other ones would fail. So it was cool. Well done, sir. And thank you for providing that service. So there's your stream linked in the comments below if you're interested in seeing what happened. Here is the crowd chanting for locking Trudeau up. And I thought this was interesting and worthwhile to play. 20 seconds. Here we go. So there you go. That's a rambunctious crowd cheering, a really sustained cheer. And that's a lot of people. Like, wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed, Canada. I thought that this would be different, and I'm glad to see that I was wrong. good job, everyone, for being out there. Good job for delivering all this stuff. Good job for fighting for what you believe in, despite literally everything being stacked against you. I think that there were some real concerns going into yesterday, and man, everybody showed up with bells on and really, I think, made a point. So good job, good work. It was good to see in Ottawa, and if you haven't watched any of the live streams, well, have a look. It's very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Here's two related stories. I thought I've reported on the Tim Hortons app before, but here's the Ontario COVID app. CP24 is reporting launch of COVID-19 contract tracing app in Ontario delayed. This is July 2nd. Today is July 2nd. A new mobile app meant to help with contact tracing of COVID-19 cases won't roll out across Ontario today as planned. Now, I'm just going to pause here. It's like mandating masks 4 months into a pandemic. This contact tracing, shouldn't we have been doing it like from the beginning? And if we were doing it from the beginning, how's that looking? Is it preventing anything? What exactly are the stats for contact tracing for preventing further outbreaks, Doug? Or anybody? Can anybody give me those stats? Can anybody give me a good reason why anybody would install this BS tracking app for the government? Please track me. Yes, keep me safe, government. You've done such a good job and not lied so far. Like, yeah, right. Come on. Like, not a chance. Not a chance. They can. In fact, I've turned off all my emergency locations and all of that other stuff on my cell phone. So all locations are off because they did. They snuck in a Google level, so that's operating system level, COVID tracing app, and it uses Bluetooth and it uses location. If the location's off, then presumably the app says it's off. But how much do you believe that, right? If you look in your location settings, also there's emergency location settings that are all set to on, even if your location's off. So you got to make sure, or get yourself a flip phone, right? And I just have to get the SIM card. I'm sick and tired of this garbage, because this is creeping control, creeping data harvesting, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Tim Hortons is, and this is yesterday, Tim Hortons is facing a class action lawsuit over app location tracking. So this is 2 days ago, not yesterday. Yesterday was Canada Day. I apologize. But I don't think it's coincidence that they're backing off on this. And we'll see if this ever gets rolled out. I mean, in Trudeau's Canada, anything's possible. I'm certainly not saying I think they're backing off, because if anything, they are doubling and tripling down on what they're doing. But this is not worth the price of the cell phone. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Back to this. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Health says the province is still working with the federal government to help as government, and the app is expected to launch soon. The province will be the first to use the COVID Alert app, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said it should be ready for downloading in the rest of the country later this summer. Premier Doug Ford said the app is meant to enhance the province's contact tracing strategy. He's previously said it could play a key role in helping contain the spread of COVID-19 as more businesses reopen their doors. The app will be voluntary and will notify users based on a number of criteria, including if they were within 2 meters of a person who tested positive for the virus, and if that contact took place over an extended period of time. The province doesn't give a new date for the app's launch. Okay, I mean, I feel like the province creating this app while at the same time creating a situation where everybody's phone like connects to other people's phone just to see if they were close to each other enough to maybe spread the disease. If I was a hacker, I would desperately look for ways to exploit that, because just the treasure trove. And I mean, how many times has the government of Ontario or the government of Canada said, "Oh, sorry, somebody left all of your personal information in a doctor's waiting room and it was missing for 6 months. Sorry about that. We didn't know about it until now." Haha. Right? Like, do you think? And I mean, I think they'll probably tell us, but I think that maybe it won't matter, right? Like, if all of your data goes missing and your identity gets stolen, well, whoops, I guess I shouldn't have downloaded that app. On to Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is facing a class action lawsuit in Quebec over data collection issues in the company's mobile ordering app, filed a day after 4 privacy watchdogs announced a joint investigation into the company's overreach. The court application filed by Montreal-based law firm LPC Advocate Incorporated and Consumer Law Group on Tuesday cites reporting by the Financial Post from earlier in June, which revealed the Tim Hortons app was logging users' locations in the background when the app wasn't open. The app was streaming GPS location data to Radar Labs Incorporated, an American company which analyzes location data to infer where users live and work and logs a person's visit to one of Tim Hortons competitors such as Starbucks, McDonald's Corp, or others. Immediately after privacy commissioners for the federal government, Quebec, Alberta, and British Columbia announced their joint investigation on Monday, Tim Hortons said in a statement that it has discontinued its practice of tracking users' location while the app is not open. Oops. They got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, right? Oh, I wasn't eating a cookie. I was just checking to see if there were cookies in here. I wasn't going to eat it. Back to this. It certainly seems to be an implicit admission on their part that that they knew what they were doing was wrong, said Joey Zukran, a consumer protection lawyer with the LPC Advocate Incorporated, which specializes in class action litigation. Zukran said the lead plaintiff is a Montreal resident who works in the IT sector. He was a user of both the Tim Hortons and Burger King apps, and since both of those chains are owned by parent company Restaurant Brands International Incorporated, he was likely being tracked twice. Quote, I would say he's a tech-savvy guy from my conversations with him. He was a consumer of Tim Hortons, a customer of Tim Hortons, a customer of Burger King, and he often used the app. Learning everything that transpired came as a shock to him, Zukran said. Zukran said that simply stopping the practice of background location tracking isn't enough because Tim Hortons' parent company appears to have been tracking the lead plaintiff since last year, and the damage is already done. Quote, let's see what they do with that information. Are they going to destroy it? Are they going to use it? He said. They've gained a valuable database of information and behavior patterns and activities of individuals. So are they now going to just throw that out, or are they going to profit from it? My guess is the latter. And they've already used this. Like, they've already used that data, right? If you've ever got a targeted ad, that data's been used. Period. It's being used and analyzed by AI at Google headquarters through their search engines right now. I have no doubt. And if it's not AI, it's machine learning, which is just the precursor to AI, right? So it's being looked at. It's being analyzed, just like all of your audio snippets are, right? If you've got your microphone set to record for the Messenger app, all of your data is being sent back to all of those audio clips. If the phone ever thinks you're talking to it, records the data, it sends it back, right? And as we can see, it doesn't matter if the app is open or closed. Burger King was getting data from the background all the time, and that was allowed, right? You had to go in and disable it in order to not have that happen. And they say, oh, you always had the choice. You always had the choice, but you didn't know, right? You didn't know what they were doing. You didn't know the extent. So did you have a choice, right? Back to this. Since Tim Hortons launched our mobile app, our guests have always had the choice of whether they share location data with us, including always sharing location data, an option offered by many companies on their own apps, Fulton said. Ostensibly, the lawsuit is asking for a $100 penalty, but the key point, according to the consumer law group lawyer Jeff Orenstein, is that they're asking the court to award punitive damages. So if the court agrees that punitive damages, blah, 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 here's the consequences. Orenstein said most privacy and data cases in Canada have been focused on breaches where companies allowed private information to be leaked or stolen by hackers. But litigation around issues relating to data and privacy could become more common depending on how the courts respond in this case and future cases. If the courts realize how important privacy is and attribute major dollar figures to it, then yes, this litigation will continue, Orenstein said, and it will be brought to the attention of the companies which will have major business decisions to make in the future, whether it's worth the risk. If the courts give a slap on the wrist or nothing at all, then you're not going to see many cases. Right, so this is in people will be watching this for precedent setting, etc. Here is the last story for this morning. It is about and it is about the money that this program looks to be costing. I think it's going to cost more than $900 million. Want to know why? Here we go. CBC News is reporting June 30th. Teachers to be paid $12,000 to recruit and manage students under government program with We Charity. Interesting, isn't it? A key piece of a much scrutinized $900 million program to get youth working in the community will also pay teachers $12,000 each to recruit and mentor students over the summer. The Canada Student Services Grant Program, which pays students and recent graduates to work with community organizations across the country, has come under new scrutiny after it was revealed the We Charity was selected by the federal government as the only group able to administer the program. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his family have appeared multiple times at We events. The decision to pay teachers to recruit and manage their own students, even for an opportunity that would financially benefit the students, has surprised some. Quote, we don't have all the details yet, but certainly this is not a common practice, said Iona Doherty, excuse me if I got that wrong, managing director of the Youth and Innovation Project at the University of Waterloo, who has co-founded several public service organizations. According to the posting for the volunteer manager positions on the We website, educators will be expected to recruit and manage different numbers of students depending on whether they're based in rural or urban areas. We need engaged educators like you to recruit, lead, and mentor a group of 75 to 100 eligible students in your community through this program. As a group leader, you'll receive $12,000 $12,000 in compensation. $12,000. Okay, and I just want to point out, I'll read this and then I'll show you the math. In this case, the students and recent graduates stand to earn both money and work experience at a time when the jobs are hard to come by. The program has proved popular. Applications opened last Thursday, and by Tuesday evening, the government said it had received 28,500 applications. So how much, and hold on, here's the volunteer application. We're going to go through this in just a minute, but I want to show you the cost of this program before we go through the volunteer application. $900 million program, they say. We gets $19.1 million in compensation, but it's a sliding scale based on how many students they get to sign up. But they got a lot of students, right? They got more than the 20,000 students they initially thought. $12,000 per 100 students for mentorship. Okay, that's about the ratio they put into the article, and the ratio is different for urban and rural, but fundamentally it's about that. So that's some back of the napkin math for you. I'm rounding. It's not exact, but if 28,000 students have applied, which is what the article said, then dividing that by 100 gets 285 times 12,000. That's $3 million, $3.5 million for the teachers. Okay, so $20,000 for we, $3 million for the teachers, and if every student gets the top grant amount, that's $1.5 billion. Huh? Isn't that weird? Isn't that interesting? Right? It was supposed to be 20,000 students. It's weird because the math was totally off. All right, I redid the math, and with the right number of students, 28,500 students, roughly, times the full grant. And my point is, it's almost $1 billion program, and these are the main parts of the program. And where are they getting the rest of the money? Like, where's it going? I don't understand. And that was what I thought I was going to find, and then I was surprised at how much the cost was, but that's because I got the number wrong. And I'm just going to double check one more time. Yeah, that's right. So $900 million, but the total cost of the program on the back of my napkin is $40 million. Right? Or am I wrong? Tell me that I'm wrong in the comments and make fun of the math that I got wrong originally. Man, adding zeros changes the cost a lot. Here's the volunteer posting. The Canadian Student Service Grant, and this is at WE. This is the WE organization.applytojobs.com. So link is in the description if you want to apply for a job if you're not doing anything this summer. It says, in response to the Government of Canada created the Canada Student Services Grant, a program that will provide tens of thousands of qualified post-secondary students, post-secondary institution, either entering post-secondary institutions in the fall of 2020 or currently enrolled in a post-secondary institution, with learning and volunteer opportunities to address relevant COVID-19 challenges at Canadian not-for-profits during the summer of 2020. Participating students will be eligible to apply for a grant which will provide up to $5,000 to be used towards post-secondary education costs. The grant is based on the number of validated volunteer hours completed between June 15th and September 15th, 2020. Student volunteers receiving the Canada Emergency Benefit CESB are also eligible to apply for a CSSG. Qualifications and responsibilities available to so this is for the mentors, okay? To make CSSG a success, we need engaged educators like you to recruit, lead, and mentor a group of 75 to 100 eligible students in your community through this program. As a group leader, you will receive $12,000 in compensation. Is this taxable? Is this work or is it volunteer work? What about the rest of these grants? Is it volunteer work, so not taxable? $10 an hour, tax-free. $12,000 for 2 months of work, tax-free. Looking at overseeing 100 students? I don't know. Okay, qualifications to become a mentor. Available to fully participate during the months of July and August 2020. Available to actively recruit a minimum of 75 qualified students in June 2020. It's July 2nd. Current grade 12 students who are going to post-secondary institutions in the fall of 2020 and or those currently enrolled in post-secondary institution. Onboard, manage, and help oversee volunteer participation in the program and help develop the service activities as available within the initiative. Either lead an initiative with a qualified not-for-profit you are previously engaged with, or be paired with an existing CSSG volunteer opportunity. Encourage participants to help them achieve their volunteer hours at CSSG award levels. So wait a second. You get to go and work at your own volunteer thing. So you get $12,000 to go and create this thing, not-for-profit and jobs, and then recruit kids to work for you. Man, this program seems more and more troublesome. Serve as the main point of contact to support your target group of qualified student volunteers, facilitate meetings, check-ins, and online workshops. Do you want to work more over the summer? Yeah, inform your group of qualified student volunteers of training and development opportunities available. Training? I wonder what training is available. Student eligibility must be Canadian citizen, secondary school graduate, and enrolled in an accredited post-secondary institution. To be eligible for the grant, post-secondary students and recent graduates must be 30 years old or younger as of December 31st, 2020. Doesn't that seem old to you? Those who have received or applied for the CESB, Canada Emergency Student Benefit, 100 or 1,250 monthly, are eligible. Anybody who's on the CURB is not eligible. CURB. And scroll down. The following students are eligible: those receiving, those who are employed. So if you're working, you can do this. I'm not sure how exactly. Those receiving a stipend under the Canada Service Corps microgrant stream. Very, very interesting. Here, I'll leave this. This is some reading. This is from last year, 2019. Inside the Cult of Kielburger. This is from Canada Land. I often disagree with a lot of the stuff that they put in their shows. I think it's often slanted. Be aware of that. This is an interesting report either way. So, yeah, very interesting. Talks about how cult-like they are. Talks about how we is pursuing litigation against Canada Land for their reporting on this. Here's a quote from a former WE director, Mark is a bully, 100%. We is active in 16,000 public and private schools where kids are recruited to join the We movement. Some of our sources who went on to work for We began in high school as We volunteers. One former employee alleged that she was asked to use misleading messages to motivate school children in a fundraising campaign. There's also the story of the story. Oh, here it is. The foundational story for We is false. It's fake, and Kielburg knows it, and he keeps using it. That's what this story is about here. The carpet trade mafia that he blames for the death of the person who couldn't do the work, so he picked up the work. It's very, I mean, man, it's like trashy NGO reading, right? Like non-governmental organization, like, ooh, this is the story behind the story. You know, will they or won't they get divorced? Like the Us Weekly of NGOs. That's what this is. But it's very interesting reading. So, I mean, if you're on a treadmill and you've got nothing else to do, give this a read. Actually, you should probably read this anyway. It's very interesting. That's enough out of me today. Check out these live streams. Check out the energy. I don't know what's going to happen. I I really, really don't. Mandatory masks are rolling out in Toronto as of July 7th. There's all sorts of mayors making moves to further curtail people's rights. There's government monies being given to teachers for mentorships at very, very sketchy movements. And it's very interesting, all of this. Tracking apps are being fought back on. Man, I don't know. And people are chanting en masse for getting rid of Justin Trudeau. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, but something's going to happen. I don't think that we can just exist in this state for an unspecified amount of time. I don't think we can just carry on going to work and like not have something resolve itself. I think something's going to resolve. I mean, Biden's going to be in or Trump's going to win, and either one of those things is going to be consequential. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happens next, but I'm sure going to keep watching. It's very interesting. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check out CanadaPoly.com, check out CanadaReport.co, and check out SpeakingMoistly.co, and have a wonderful, wonderful